Efficient reading tips. Making sure your reading strategy is as effective as possible will save you a lot of time and improve your knowledge retention greatly, allowing you to use what you've learnt to inform your own work. Here are some tips that we've collected to help improve your reading. Find a time of day that you prefer to read. For many, this is in the morning, with writing flowing better in the afternoon, but you may prefer to read in the evenings. Whenever you do it, find a productive location that stops your mind from wandering. Don't read too deeply too early on. This is important to gauge the breadth of the field and the general ideas and concepts before delving into particular debates in detail. It allows you to have an even picture of the field before having to critically analyse and form opinions on individual ideas. Review papers can be a good starting point for this tip. Ask your supervisor for key papers in the field that you should cover and use forward and backward searching to inform your initial ideas. We've covered these already, but they allow groundbreaking papers that formed the concepts to be read in detail, and then the papers that have been based both before and after that paper to be used to help form your ideas in the field. Use search terms and questions that you want to answer to aid in your searches. And ensure you're collecting literature in all areas you want to cover. Write them on post-it notes next to your computer and regularly go back to these questions you want answered to see if the information you're gaining is going to help in answering those questions. This will avoid you going down rabbit holes too often. Sometimes letting the literature pull you in certain directions can be good to broaden your mind and allow different connections to develop, but you don't want to waste too much time taking notes on papers that won't be useful. Take regular breaks and observe the 20-20-20 rule to avoid damaging your eyes over long portions of reading. This rule says that for every 20 minutes spent looking at a screen, a person should look away for 20 feet for 20 seconds. You should minimise glare and download programs such as f.lux to help minimise the amount of screen glare that might be occurring. Read in stages. Unless your supervisor has informed you of a particularly important paper, you can waste a lot of time making detailed notes on papers that are not useful to your review. Instead, many academics suggest pre-reading your papers before detailed note-taking. This can take the form of scan reading, searching for keywords, abstracts, and conclusion reading. It also allows you to collect papers that are relevant quickly without wasting time. However, beware of the mistakes that many students make, and don't download endless papers saying that you're going to read them later on, or highlighting papers without taking notes and forming your own ideas. It can be a form of procrastination and is unlikely you will ever get on top of the pile that you're forming. The UNB Writing Centre discusses Francis P. Robinson's SQR² system on reading, which covers the approaches of survey, question, read, recite, and review. This approach is especially helpful when you're trying to gain information on a textbook, and the link to this discussion is linked below. Finally, read in an efficient order. This especially applies to scientific papers, where you'll initially want to read from start to finish. However, unless you want detailed information on how the research was conducted, this can waste time. Professor Pete Carr recommends that you read the abstract and conclusions first, and then go to the introduction, which will explain the background of the study, and the results and discussion section for the heart of the paper. At that point, you can decide whether or not reading the methods in detail will help gain further understanding, or whether it's not needed for your review. Finally, Dr. Robinson Mays, the Associate Professor at Queensland University of Technology in Australia, has created a series of really helpful videos covering topics such as reading with progress, practical strategies, and how reading can improve your writing. I highly recommend checking them out, and that link will also be included alongside this video.